quick sound check. See if you guys can hear me. Alright, yeah, it probably is pretty loud. I'm on the backup mic. I was messing with the mixer this weekend, and I guess I broke it somehow setting up the new camera, so oops. But anyways, not my weekend apparently. So baby was sick all weekend, was like unable to get back over and get everything set up. I thought I tested it, but I guess it used the other mic when I tested. I don't know, it's cool. Monday morning, awesome, excited. All right, give me 2 seconds here. All right, cool. So you guys can see my screen, you can hear me, and we're ready to go. All right, so sorry about that. I'll work on that today after the power hour. So I want to take a look here at a couple of things for this week. We had a pretty decent week last week, and coming off of that, there was really no news happening last week. But coming into this week, I mean, we're going to have quite a bit of news coming out. We've got some numbers coming out here at 10 o'clock. We've got some CAD news coming out later today, some Aussie news coming out later tonight, and then, as you go down through the rest of the week, we got some more Aussie news. We got some more core durable goods here tomorrow morning. We got some more Aussie news coming out there on Tuesday. Wednesday pretty light, Thursday pretty light, and then Friday a bunch of stuff here coming out towards the end of the week. Excuse me. So what I'm thinking for this week is my game plan kind of coming into this week is going to be Monday, Tuesday here. I'm going to be kind of fairly light, especially today given the issues I'm having so far and the fact that I'm running on like a few hours of sleep. I'm going to be fairly light here. I'm going to be fairly cautious with entries and positions just overall. Not necessarily feeling the greatest with not getting as much sleep as I would have liked to, and that definitely can weigh on mental clarity and what it is that I want to see. So I'm going to be very picky today for what I'm going to be looking to take. And I think we've got plenty of opportunities here for the rest of the week, so I'm not going to be trying to press too hard on a Monday morning. But with that being said, what I've got here so far in the S&Ps is we've got targets up here, 2860.75s that just traded here in the pre-market session about 4 o'clock this morning. So we've pushed through. Overnight highs are 61 quarters. So we pushed through those levels by about 2 ticks so far. Those were the ultimate targets that we're kind of looking for into last week that just did not trade yet, and of course 45.50s here, which we were looking for on Fridays, which we didn't quite get. But overall, really solid week there. I mean, the Dow here, which we'll get to, is just absolutely cranking, and I'm going to honestly expect a little bit of kind of sideways choppy action here potentially today and maybe into tomorrow as we're kind of coming up here and hitting some of these larger targets in the broader markets. So we had the little bit of slop and chop last week, Tuesday, Wednesday, where it was like, okay, markets are trying to end the hourly downtrend, start a new uptrend, and things like that. And now we've gotten to the point where we've hit these targets. Unfortunately, the targets came, we're up 21 points on the day here in the S&Ps. I mean, we're just pretty much gapping straight up into targets there from a Sunday night open there. So really the only way to have captured any of this move would have been to hold a position over the weekend, which is something that I necessarily haven't done in a really long time when it comes to futures. Do have a Boeing position that I'm holding over from last week, but again, that's a little different than the futures markets, right? So I'm going to be cautious here just because of that. We've kind of hit this target here, and what I think is going to happen is we'll come up, we'll probably trade this target again right here at the open, maybe push a little bit through it. The NASDAQ targets are a little bit higher, so I think we need to kind of trade all of these markets to targets. And then from there, I think we might go sideways to maybe a little bit of a pullback here. And if we do get that, pullbacks to 28.45.50s here from a swing perspective in the S&Ps, I think are a good buying opportunity for this week in the S&Ps. Now, with that being said, moving to the Nasdaq here. Nasdaq targets up here 74.92s. Those have not traded yet. We got 87.50s here in the pre-market session. So still about 5 points or so off of those levels. And in fact, there's a little bit more room for them to go towards 75.23s there. And the S&Ps have already hit essentially this target up here, these 75.23s. The Nasdaq here, as you can see, has gone sideways for most of last week, and then is now finally getting a little bit of a push here on this gap up. So when you're looking at the construction of these charts, the Nasdaq here is just a tad bit weaker there. You can see this was the Tuesday open here in the Nasdaq, and if you look at the Tuesday open in the S&Ps here, you can see we already got above that on Friday and now just kind of tacking on there. So Nasdaq a little bit weaker here. Overall chart perspective, not necessarily on the day, it's up 0.81%. It's the second highest percentage gain on the day. Dow being number one and Russell being the laggard today, all the way in the back at 0.65% to the green side today. So Nasdaq's here. I think we're going to kind of trade up to the 74.92s kind of at the open. It's got about a 20-point range potential from where we're currently trading at. And then I want to watch and see what it does from there. I do think this Nasdaq can get a nice pullback to 74.19 quarters. So we may have, for the first time, kind of a short opportunity in the Nasdaq back down into 74.19 quarters, and then a long opportunity off of that, kind of back up into what I'm looking for is new highs up towards basically 75.70s and change. And we'll drill down on those targets as that trade starts to set up. So early morning ideas there in the Nasdaq. Be patient, let the long trade out, and then potentially, start looking for some short side trades in there for the larger pullback here. Moving into the Russell. Russell here, I mean, up 0.65% on the day, but Russell's kind of stuck in a really interesting zone here. We've got overnight levels coming in at 1556.30s and 1552.20s, and overnight highs are 1556.20s. So we got one tick away from this this target level here in the Russell in the overnight session. We pushed through by 2 ticks in the S&Ps, got 1 tick away here in the Russell. But again, Russell is just weaker overall because it still hasn't quite got into this gap fill area, which is where the S&Ps were able to trade into. And then we'll look at the Dow here in just a second. But for the Russell here, any moves under 1552.20s on the day, I'm actually not gonna trade the Russell today. But any moves under 1552.20s, you could make an argument for a short side trade there, as it would be failing on its support here. And that would be a good indication if we're looking for shorts in the Nasdaq here. If we can trade up into those levels and we can get the Russell kind of under this 1552.20s, then we might have the Russell being the leader to the downside today and able to participate off of some Nasdaq shorts there. But again, under 1552.20s, not going to be looking for long side trades in there. And finally, moving on here to the Dow. So the Dow is just the leader here. I mean, 26,099 is the target up here. We're currently 26,153. So we've got to step back even further to try and find some targets on this. And realistically, those don't come in until 26,277. We've got some small levels in here, kind of 26,133. But again, we're still above those at the moment, with the Dow being at 26,154 as I'm talking here now. So again, the Dow is going to be interesting. Nice gap up situation here, clearing this resistance level, and I think it may end up being kind of the preferred long for the week. So S&Ps and Dow probably the preferred long on the week, and then maybe Russell being the preferred short, followed by the Nasdaq. So we'll see if that stays consistent here for the rest of the week, or if that kind of flip-flops around. But right now, looking at long side trades here in the Dow, this would be one of the only trades I would take on the day for the long side here. Again, looking for S&Ps to get to their targets, looking for NASDAQ to get to their targets. Not necessarily looking to take a long in those markets here, but pullbacks here in the Dow, I think, are buyable opportunities on the day. So 26,133 and 26,099, and we actually just traded down in the pre-market session on some 8:30 news announcements there, right kind of into, actually you can see here, this is the overnight session, traded up into those 26,099s, traded up into those 26,133s, pushed by 2 points there. That's only $10 per contract. Tried to get through it again, pulled back, tested 26,099s, and then right here we came down and traded 098s on that 8:30 news announcement there, and then so far have ripped back to the upside. So pullbacks to there on the day I think are viable opportunities. If they break, if 26,099 breaks, then I don't think longs are good anymore from that point. And if that does happen, we've got room to pull back in here to 26,017. 26,017 there on the Dow. All right. Oops. All right, cool. All right, I got just 2 more minutes here. I don't have enough time to cover gold or crude here, but I'll cover those in the morning power hour with everybody in the Discord. But if anybody has any ticker symbols they want me to take a look at, feel free to go ahead and punch those in real quick, and I'll take a look at those. The only open position that I have on right now is going to be in Boeing. That is currently gapping up by about $5.50, maybe $6 here, give or take. 387.15 by 40 on the bid. So that's going to be gapping kind of right up in towards this area. This has got targets up into kind of 392.11s and then up towards kind of 399.54s. And again, that's that kind of 400 target area I was looking for. So I'm going to see if this trade gives an opportunity today to potentially take profits on it. I may look at doing so. It's still got 17 days to go till expiration, but overall I like the position. And if we're able to capture the move that we were looking for in just 4 days, then I'm completely fine with taking those profits off the table. Again, that's a 4-legged spread that I put on based around the 375, 372 half puts, the 380, 382 half calls there in Boeing. So may look at that. NVIDIA and CL. All right, let me take a look at NVIDIA, and then CL I'll cover in the morning power hour after it opens. NVIDIA here looks like it's gapping up by about 4 points there, 183s. Again, I like this to the upside here now. I think it's got some room to go in this gap, so I don't mind that. Let's see, IV rank in there. IV rank's pretty good. So yeah, I like that. I mean, continuation of this uptrend that's been in, working its way into the gap. So yeah, I like NVIDIA to the long side there. First target's kind of like 195.40s area, and 195.11s, and then maybe like 189 and change here. So kind of right up in towards this area. 194. You guys can see that. 189.71, 194.84s. All right. All right, that's what I got for this morning, guys. Sorry, a little bit of technical issues there, but I will be right back in just a few minutes for everybody that's in the MLT Discord with the morning power hour. Supreme Gaming, great question. That's going to be the first link in the description below. If you want to join the Discord, all you got to do is click on that button, and it is free to join, so feel free to do so. That's where I'll be trading live each and every morning for about an hour, hour and a half, and I'll see you guys back in just a few minutes in there.